I figured out.
Yeah. So nominating milestones to be voted on. That's a major part of our scope of what we need to achieve. In fact, I would say that's the most important piece because Team 2 doesn't work without it. So that's like a critical piece of our infrastructure that's required for the whole. The next piece is, of course, Giveth milestones. So one of the things that's really cool is that we have this Giveth milestone system that's relatively modular. It has an optional reviewer, although I think we'll just always have a reviewer. And we'll also always have a funding cap. These will be requirements for a milestone to be nominated, right? And that funding cap, if people, that funding cap puts out a specific number. It's like, hey, we need $1,000, right? And Team 2, this is another interface point. Team 2 wants to know, hey, how much do I have to donate to hit the cap, for the milestone? And it's not actually the amount that's being requested. It's actually the amount left that the milestone still needs. So each milestone can actually receive funding from independent donors. And that changes the amount being requested, which actually for Team 2 requests or changes the amount of voting power that needs to be allocated to that choice for it to be funded, right? If something's asking for $10,000, then it needs more voting power than if it's asking for $5,000. And this is something that we need to make sure that we can feed to Team 2, the amount of money being requested that's left over to be funded, right? And another add-on to the milestone would be nice, but it doesn't have to actually hit our scope. It could just be in a design or something that we statically put on there. Is like the amount that the commons, the voting from Team 2, is actually already going to match if it hits its goal. Because you can kind of imagine if a certain amount of voting power is already allocated to a milestone, then it will, it almost has a new cap for individual donors, right? So like if there's already $5,000 worth of voting power that's allocated to this milestone, and it's asking for $6,000. If someone puts in $1,000, then instantly the cap is reached. So it's almost like this cool matching that is happening from this outside system. So that's like within the milestone, there's some options for interfacing. It's not so critical. We don't have to, like if we can't make it to get that piece in, then that's okay. It's not the end of the world, but like it would be cool if we could. The other piece is that just the milestones themselves need to be filled out with content. So at least my current idea with the narrative is to interact with all the other teams in Scaling Wildlife and try to raise money for their projects. They're all asking for money. So, and they're all helping Indonesian wildlife. So we might as well try to integrate them the best that we can. Try to fund them, and in some cases, even use them as reviewers. So in the Giveth milestone system, each reviewer is just an Ethereum address, which could be a smart contract. And we could write a little smart contract if we have time. We could write a little smart contract that, let's say, interacts with, there was a team that does satellite imagery to see if to spit out like a number of how much increase or decrease there has been in the Indonesian rainforest, right, in this sector. So we could actually make it a reviewer that's like, hey, increase maintain the current state of the rainforest for 2 years. And if at 2 years from now, the reviewer is this AI bot that's reading satellite imagery, says, yes, they have maintained or grown the rainforest in this area, then they would get a payout. You could do something like that. Like that would be really cool. And Odyssey really loves this interaction. They're very against the idea that we're competing. So they're very for this idea of, oh, let's collaborate with everyone. And Morpheus proposal engine can, we as a team, we can like touch everybody. I really think that we can integrate all of the other people in our tracks into this. So yeah, so that's the creating milestones part. Is there anything, any questions?
Just a quick question here. It's Andreas. So the Morpheus proposal engine is something that doesn't exist yet, and we're basing it on the Giveth functionality of the DApp. But we do need certain touch points with, like certain interface points with the other teams, right? This is different tracks, right?
Yeah. So okay. Morpheus proposal engine is our team name. Okay. Josh came up with it. I was going to change it, but then they loved it.
Max,
I like it.
The sponsors, yeah. The sponsors. What is that, Josh?
I said I didn't come up with that. I think it was Max, but I don't know where it came from.
Oh, Max came up with it?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Oh, nice. Well, I was going to change it, but the sponsors fucking loved it. So we're in. We're, you know, it's great. But that's our team name, and we are actually going to use the DApp heavily, obviously. The Giveth DApp is like our major building block. So in a way, the Morpheus proposal engine exists just because the DApp exists, but it doesn't have, it's missing certain features so that it can be a part of the comments, right? And it can be a part of any comments, but we're going to focus most just on, we're not going to have it in our scope that, oh, this will work for any comments, but technically it is in our scope because team 2 will use what we do for a different purpose. They're going to not use Indonesian rainforest. They're going to use a different idea, and they will use it for their comments. So,
okay, understood.
Oh, that's good. I didn't think I made sense.
Okay. You did.
Okay, so next one, and this is actually a small piece but very important, is that we need to make it so that when someone receives, so the milestone flow, right? A milestone is proposed, and we have a Git book that walks through all these user flows. But in general, the milestone flow is such. Someone proposes a milestone. If it's the campaign reviewer, it's automatically accepted. If the campaign reviewer proposes a milestone, it's automatically accepted. If anyone else proposes a milestone, the campaign reviewer has to click accept, right? But then the milestone is visible and anyone can donate it to it. And also anyone can nominate it. So in our flow, both of those things are possible, and someone will nominate it to be voted on, right? And once the amount requested matches the amount of voting power it has, XDAI from the commons will be sent to the milestone. This XDAI, however, when it's paid out to the milestone, is actually paid out in tokens. So we have to track how much XDAI came from the commons versus how much XDAI came from a donor. That's very easy. It's already built in Giveth. But we also need to make sure that when someone clicks the button that says, oh, okay, and so then the reviewer says, hey, this has been completed. I'm sorry. So the milestone gets funded. Some money comes from the commons and some money comes from an independent donor. And then the person who is completing the milestone says, yo, I did the good work. I planted 1,000 trees, right? And then he pushes a button that says, hey, I'm done. And then the reviewer looks at the evidence and he says, yeah, I think you did. Congrats. And then the guy comes back and he pushes a button that says, give me my money. When he's given the money, instead of the money going, the money that was directly donated goes straight to him. But the money that came from the commons has a catch to it. And that money needs to go back to actually team 1. And team 1 ends up converting that into tokens at the current exchange rate. And then they get tokens. And then they can push another button. And when they push that button, those tokens can then be converted into XDAI. XDAI is a stable token on Ethereum, so DAI, right? Which is US dollars. And here, or of course, they don't have to push that last button. They can instead hold the tokens. They have to know that when they push that button, that there's actually a fee for exchanging the tokens, and that fee goes to the commons, right? And this is effectively a tax on the system to support Indonesian rainforests. If you exit the economy, you have to support Indonesian rainforests. This is like the rule. And so we as Team Theory, we need to build the smart contracts that track how much XDAI needs to be converted to tokens, and interface with Team 1 to convert those into tokens, and then make another and add a couple buttons so that they can convert their tokens into XDAI if they want to.
Who's team 1, and what is their role in the guy who in the planting the 1,000 trees?
So Team 1 is the token bonding curve, right? They're the token bonding curve team. And the rules of the economy that they're building, the commons, is that the only way for money to exit the system is through the bonding curve. So even though the DAO is holding XDAI, the stable currency, it's kind of, you can imagine it as oil through the system. It never leaves the system directly through the DAO. The DAO sends it to milestones in Giveth, and then this way that the people who are planting 1,000 trees, they don't have to worry about the speculation of a token, right? They get to say, hey, I want $1,000 worth of value for planting these 1,000 trees. But they don't get 1,000 XDAI. Instead, they get 1,000 XDAI worth of tokens. If the commons gave them 1,000 XDAI, they would end up with 1,000 XDAI worth of tokens, because that's the currency of the commons. But with this, the fact that the tokens are backed by XDAI allows us to use this stability to make things easier on people. Instead of paying people in tokens that are volatile, well, yes, we have to pay you in tokens. But if you don't want the tokens, you can cash out within 20 seconds and not have to experience the volatility, you know?
So, sorry, in the use case where someone plants 1,000 trees, you just said we of the, what was it, 6,000 DAI, 1,000 goes to the one who plants them, and the rest goes to Team 1.
I'm sorry, I had an epic fail because I used like 3 different examples. So, let's say $5,000 to plant 1,000 trees. They would actually say, hey, 5,000 XDAI. Let's say they receive 1,000 XDAI from individual donors and 4,000 XDAI from the commons. They have 5,000 XDAI in their milestone, but when they hit the send me money button, like as in XDAI is really there. It's really in the milestone. You know, the smart contract is holding XDAI. Is at least as it does in Giveth. It's a little bit different still, but there's still some abstraction there. But effectively, XDAI is being held by the smart contract. And then they push the button. They receive 1,000 XDAI because individual donors sent XDAI from the contract directly to the contract. But then the 4,000 XDAI goes to this token bonding curve, buys tokens, and then sends the tokens to the person. And if the person then pushes the button again and says, I don't want this shit coin. What is this rainforest token? I don't need that. I need cold hard XDAI, man. So they push this button, and then their 4,000 XDAI worth of tokens is sent to the token bonding curve, and they actually receive 3,940. I don't remember. They pay a 2% fee, right? 20. So they'll get 3,920 XDAI. because there's a 2% exit fee.
Okay, so 'cause I think earlier you said team one presses a button, but really what we're doing, we're just, our smart contract just sends the money to whatever team one bills, and they take care of the transfer to the one who, or do they send it back to us?
Yeah, they send it directly to the person.
Okay.
So
cool.
it'll be like a simple transaction that's like, hey, what is it? Mint tokens and give the money to this address. And then the tokens are minted to the person who's supposed to receive the money. And then it's like, oh, hey, well, we're smart. We see that you got these tokens. Do you want the tokens? Do you want to burn some of them? How much do you want to burn? They can burn a percentage, or we can make them burn a number, right? How much XDAI do you want, and how much do you want to keep tokens? This is a design question of how we want to show it to them, and a UX question, and then we build whatever that solution is. So that's our total scope of work. I think, does anyone, I hope we didn't miss anything. I don't think we missed anything. So yeah, does anyone have any other questions about it?
What's the schedule? I can see from the website it says the hack starts at 12 on Friday. When do you meet? I'll be arriving on Friday around 10 or so.
Oh, nice.
Who's gonna be where?
So if you arrive at 10, what I would say is come straight to the boat and drop your stuff off, right? And we'll all leave from the boat, probably at like, I don't know. Some people, I think people will leave independently. I, for instance, probably need to get there a little early and schmooze, because that's going to be one of my main jobs there, is to like, what do you guys want from us? Hey, remember how great our team is? Hey, judges, where's your app? Let me kiss it. I'm interested, and then like, hopefully that'll help.
On the subject of the boat, just to raise a quick question, there's a mechanism designer that I was talking to at the Jedi meeting who's actually unable to make the hackathon. Apart from on the 11th, he wants to go to the masterclass because he's launching an app the next day on Friday. He's wondering if he can stay on our boat.
Sounds great.
Cool.
And get him. Do you have the spreadsheet?
I'll send it to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell him it's going to be 50 euros or less. It depends on how many people we end up having.
Cool.
I also wanted to notify that I just arrived to Amsterdam at 10 a.m. on 12th, and plus 2 hours for the ride to Groningen. So it makes me come in closer to lunchtime. So probably you would need to start without me, and I'll join as fast as I can.
Okay, it's good to know. Thanks, Max. Yeah, and if I imagine you won't have like a lot of luggage, will you be able?
Yeah, I'll just go through to the hackathon.
Okay, cool, perfect. Sweet.
Question for the hackathon: are we there for the whole duration, day and night, or do they finish at some point in the evening?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if they like kick us out or something. I imagine. I mean, I've never been to a hackathon that kicks you out at night. Like,
okay, it's not mandatory anyway, but some people choose to do it and hack through the night. But
I mean, we have a boat for people to sleep on, so
yeah, I heard.
Yeah,
good.
I also have one agenda point. I think it's that. Probably, like you guys, thanks so much for joining us, and probably you kind of trying to just understand what's going on and what is actually needed. But I think one of the most like practical points that will be common is how do we integrate with other teams. So they also have a lot of hard work going on, and they have own deadlines and so on. And maybe we can help them by providing some requests. So, for example, we want to understand when we got funded or something, then we ask them to provide us some endpoint or call or something, whatever we need. So maybe you can review the specification to check what integration points we need from the other teams, and then we can send them a request for that.
I have a feeling that our best strategy is to actually avoid any direct integration on the code side and to basically fake it. So, and hope that we can somehow switch it. But like, for instance, with rainforest tokens, instead of actually interacting with the token bonding curve from team 1, we just create our own token contract. And then we send the XDAI to the token contract. And I mean, the XDAI is actually Rinkeby Ether anyway. Okay, so like, you know, don't have to worry about it. It's not like real money. We'll send the Rinkeby Ether to this token contract, and we'll get tokens in return. And it works for us. That way, we're insulated from team 1, who just lost 3 team members. So, like, you know, it might be just a. I don't even. I'm advising them not to even make anything insulated. So, like, we'll probably have to do that anyway. Team 2, there's definitely a little bit more integration, like mostly around that nomination thing. And then everything else, you know, I think we can just kind of fake. And I think we should fake. I don't think that we should try any real hard integration. We should, I mean, we should try at the hackathon as like a bonus. But like, in reality, we just make sure that we can do what we need to do. I don't know. How do you feel about that, Max?
You're the man to have this call.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. Honestly, it's just too scary. Like, I don't want to. I want to insulate us from catastrophic failure and make sure each team can be a success independently, while also making it so that if one team fails, it doesn't bring everyone else down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So you feel that there will be core dependencies if we create these integrations, and if they fail to provide any result, then we're hanging, basically.
Yeah. Honestly, this is the only team I'm counting on. Like, team 2 is going to count on us to have the nomination thing. And I don't know, like, maybe they'll do it. Maybe we'll end up both faking it. But that's the one connection that I would be excited about seeing. But even that, we should probably just try to insulate it, you know, and just be like, yeah, look, here, you can nominate it. And then we just, you know, like, you know, this is one of those things. It's like, okay, yes, here's all of our code base. And here's all the code base for team 2, and here's all the code base for team 1. And we can even tell them, yeah, we couldn't really get that connection to work perfectly, but here's what it would look like, you know, and, oh, look, here, we just added it to team 1 or to team 2. You know, and we use their interface to add it, and then we also use our interface to add it. And maybe the connection's on the JavaScript side, but not the Solidity side, right? Like, whatever we can do to make the proposal sound good and work, you know, for the hack, so when we present our results. But, you know, like, there's no need to, like, make it. I'm just a little scared that it will cause both teams to fail if one team fails, you know. So, and then it also makes life easier for us. Coordination costs go way down, and we can just like build some kind of whatever we need. And then if we get lucky and both teams are ahead of schedule, then boom, you know, like, we can really quickly, like, the person who did the nomination on our side and the person who does the nomination on their side can talk, and then they can interact at least on the JavaScript level, and we can see it. Oh, look, I just nominated this milestone, and now look, it's in the voting thing. Oh, so cool. That shouldn't be that hard, I imagine. Okay. If there's no other questions, then we'll go into actually dividing up tasks and assigning them. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's one task that I started working on already, which is figuring out the math for the integrating the nomination. So basically, how many tokens does someone need to nominate something? I'm going to work on that and figure out these details so that we have and because I'm kind of managing the math for all the teams so that we can have one scenario that every team uses so that all of the work that they do fits everybody's track, basically. So I'm working on that one. Another task that we have is the lead person for creating milestones. This is mostly a networking task, and it will interface a lot with the narrative design, and it's also interfacing with like the other teams, going out and talking to other teams, trying to make milestones for them, dreaming up ideas on how to help the Indonesian rainforest. It's ideal for non-devs.
I'm definitely good to wander around doing that, but I'll be doing it anyway, and I'm not on the team technically, so I will do it. But if anybody else wants to take that as well, they're welcome.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pass for me then, like a call for me. So I can definitely help with that, create milestones and onboard people as much as possible.
I was kind of thinking of you, Andreas, not gonna lie. I didn't want to nominate, I didn't want to call you out, but that was definitely my thought. Even when I was like, should Andreas join the team? Yes. So let's see. The next one is smart contract creation. The most important task is creating the milestone payouts, but also potentially like creating some kind of reviewer smart contracts and basically lead person on Solidity. I imagine that this is Sebastian. I'll nominate. Are you down with that, Sebastian? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, yeah, happily. I know that there was at least one other person who knew Solidity, right?
I'm pretty sure Dean works on Solidity a little.
Yeah, I know a bit, but not my main thing.
Dean makes beautiful front ends, so I mean it's hard to steal him from that task.
Yeah. So in Team 1, do they also work with Solidity?
Team 1 just lost their best Solidity people, like all 3 of them. So unless they get like a badass Solidity dev, I mean they have Dap Lion, who's sitting right across from me, just joined their team from our team. He was originally here. He's pretty decent at Solidity, but there's a lot of other tasks to do. So I think the Solidity thing is like a lower end requirement for them.
Okay.
So I mean, it shouldn't be too hard, but at the same time, the problem is that the token bonding curve equation we want to use is Solidity and math just don't really work well together, you know? Like the whole floating point numbers thing is a problem. So
yeah. So I mean, I would have a go at it. I mean, so far from what I've heard, it's not like a huge amount of implementation work. So yeah, and if there's no one on Team 1 who will do it, we can at least together, maybe we can define an interface that I can implement against, and then we'll see how far on Team 1 we get.
Yeah, I mean, I can show, we can basically, and I think we should make our own little token bonding curve token contract. I have there's a Solidity polynomial token bonding curve. Like I think it's on Zeppelin, honestly, that they were going to look at. I can give you the link. We'll deploy something on our own. We really don't need to spend too much time on it. It can just be a normal ERC20 token. So like, you know, I want to kind of protect us against scope creep until we get to that bonus point. Unless you're really stoked about it and you want to work on it during the week, it's also, that's another thing, is like, how much time do you have before the hackathon? It's like, yeah. So it's up to you, but in the end, our big requirements are the figuring out how to write the smart contract to interface with the Giveth, the proposal system, which should be pretty easy, but there'll be some trial and error for sure, and I can work with you on that a little bit. I know this Giveth smart contracts really well. And
yeah,
then,
does that, sorry, does that mean that we need to edit the Giveth smart contracts? So we are not adding a smart contract, but we are actually going into the Giveth smart contracts and.
No, we'll just add. It'll be
Okay.
It'll be basically a milestone. I think that we'll add it as like I think we will have to create a change, an edit to the milestone smart contract, so that the milestone has effectively, I mean, we'll talk about the details of the design. I have a couple ideas for the design. There's two ways to go, right? There's wrapping the token beforehand, before it gets to us, and then there's editing the Giveth smart contracts. And maybe we'll have like a silly design question and answer after this. But either way, Sebastian is our milestone payout guy. So the next is UI for nomination. So this is specifically like, how do we end up nominating a milestone to be voted on by Team 2? This will be working in coordination with Spawnette and Kai and that crew to make sure that it interfaces well, or at least like as well as we want it to, as well as creating a little bit of some interface on top of Giveth or on top of Team 2. I would nominate Deem, honestly. I don't know if you're down, Deem.
Yeah, I'm up for that. I'm also talking with Kai, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, since you've hacked with Deem with Kai and Spawnette, you're probably the perfect person.
Yeah.
UI for milestones. Ome says that when he's hacking with us, he will hack, and I'm pretty sure he does front end. Does anyone?
Yeah, he did. I was hacking with him also, so he can do some front end also.
And is he really good at front end? Is that his specialty?
I don't think it's his specialty, but he learned it pretty quickly when I was hacking with him.
Okay. So then I would say Ome with help of Deem in case.
Yeah.
And that Deem, you'll be our lead UI guy, like implementing React, and hopefully we can, like the UI for milestones, the minimum, the MVP is basically just a button. So like it's very low. Very low. Adding one button that says, hey, yes, I want to turn my tokens into XDAI.
I have a question. So the proposals view, I guess it's something I work with Kai. So Kai made some designs for the proposals. Yeah, the listing interface.
Yeah. So there's kind of two options. Well, I think it's a little bit of both, right? We work with Team 2. But we make sure that we, put our mask on first. So like we have a way to nominate within the Giveth milestone as well. Like a little button that says nominate to the commons,
Oh, okay.
Commons.
Yeah. Okay.
And that can be like that can be a button that shows up on every milestone. And then when they click it, it's like, hey, would you like to nominate this milestone? How many tokens do you want to stake behind it? And then a little thing that's like, oh no, that's not enough tokens. And
do we have this described as a user story?
Yes, I think I added that user story to the Git book.
Can I have a link to the Git book?
Yes. I'll put it in here.
Thanks.
It's the request funding app.
Do we have somebody else? Jordan Ellis?
Gordon switched to Team 1.
Okay.
I switched. Basically, Team 1 lost 3 people. So
they need support.
Yeah, and Sebastian and you reached out to me, and I was like, oh, what team do you want to join? You know, and the Giveth, both of you said Giveth. So, well, actually, Andreas, I knew that you would work best on Sebastian. Sebastian and I gave very little cryptic information, probably not enough for him to make an informed decision, and he said Giveth, and then now he's here. So. But he'll have all the joys of working with token bonding curves too if he wants to do it for us. So yeah, Team 1
good.
Guys. So Jordan and Daplion were on our team and went to Team 1.
Okay, so they're going to Team 1. Awesome. So we've got the mapping exercise that you'll be doing. We've got the onboarding people on the DApp. We've got the smart contract, UI for nominations, UI for milestones. Is there anything else that we need?
Yes, Figma, our designs. Now, I kind of would nominate our designer, Max, but I want to make sure that he's down.
Sure.
And then narrative design. This will be me with input from everybody.
Can design a presentation as well.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, you're gonna. Did you say Max? You would design a presentation?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Are there any other roles that you guys think we're missing?
Cross-link for other teams. Was it? Have I missed it?
No, probably not. Well, so like Deem interacts with the other teams for the nomination. I think there's kind of like within each role, there's going to be a little bit of over team lap. Do you think we need, so like for the math integration, I need to interact with the other teams a lot. Creation of milestones, Andreas will probably interact with not only the other teams in our group, but like everyone, you know. And actually, that will probably be the biggest overlap because they may ask, they may need help creating their own milestones for their own narrative. So there will be, Andreas, you might end up working with them to like help them create their own milestones.
Sure.
It was just a guess. So if you feel not.
Yeah. And Sebastian, if they do come up with smart contracts and we can find a way to integrate, and like you said, like Team 1 has some a mint, a way that they form their mint call. That we can make sure that our mint call is the same.
So what I'm thinking is that we approach them maybe at the very beginning or maybe after a couple of hours and say, let's define an interface that we can implement against. And then if at the end they haven't done the implementation, we can come up with a fake one that simply returns exactly what we want to return. We're not going to show them the implementation. We just show them the interface. Tell them that's the functionality, and then just faking one is going to be pretty easy, I think.
Okay, that sounds great. Sounds like a plan.
Wait.
Yeah.
We haven't got anything for Josh.
Josh is a Jedi.
I'm a weirdo.
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry.
he comes in when we're in trouble with his lightsaber. He just saves us all.
Brilliant.
Shining red lights, and blue and green.
So,
Cool.
what do Jedis do?
We're all over the shop. I think we're mainly mingling, to be honest with you. Jedis are people that help all teams in the hackathon. So we have 5 teams that are kind of cross-pollinate, as well as like the rest of the hackathon. I'll try and make friends with them and then interlink people where necessary. So you guys get first dibs on all the good ones.
And you guys help vote, right? A little bit in some of the tracks.
Yeah.
so.
Anything offload pass to me, and I'll just do it if I can. You know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, math and solidity aren't strong points. Anything else like presentations and other human-y type stuff or organisation, etc., I'm more than happy to help with. So just give us a shout.
Cool. Well, we're right on time, guys. I think we can close it out. So we have our tasks. If you guys have any chance to work on anything early and you ever get stuck on anything, I'm around. I'm generally pulling the product owner of this whole thing. So feel free to ask me any questions anytime.
I have one more question. I signed up, but yeah, the registration was technically closed already, and I haven't heard anything back other than the automated email. Do you think we're gonna have to follow up on that?
I've already sent Anna a message that Griff should have, along with some other Givethers. I'm sorry I didn't have your email, Sebastian. Anna says that's all fine, so I assume that we're probably going to like print out some other people's tickets and use them saying you're someone else or something like that, but they're generally good.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got.
Cool, thank you.
I'm on the same. I'm on the same boat. Basically, I've got the email back saying that it's the registration is closed, so I'm sure it will be fine.
Have you guys added your details to the great big sheet? If you do that, I'll send Anna a message and just confirm what we're doing with you guys on CC. Just, hi, we're a little concerned these guys don't have tickets, but they're joining us as part of Team 5. Can you please sort them out, Anna? Thank you, kindly.
Here, I'll paste the sheets. This is a link to the sheet that he's mentioning that has everybody's contact information and also a fuck ton of links to like all sorts of crazy, disorganized chaos that is this hackathon where there's content everywhere.
Self-organizing sheet, go.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, it's organized. It's all on the sheet, So enjoy.
Good.
Yeah, and I should run. So if you guys have any questions, actually put it in the Team 3 chat because I'm sure other people have the same questions. And Sebastian, I think action items, we should have a chat about the smart contracts, ideally before we go out there. So maybe we can try to find a time tomorrow or something. I'm pretty busy the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone else needs me, feel free to shout.
Can you send me the link to the bonding curve contract you were talking about?
Yes. Yes, I can do that right now.
Thank you.
Okay.